Leomon allows us to visit Factorial Town. It's a big deal as it houses 4 recruitable Digimon and one of Ninjamon's sightings. During my first visit I was awestruck. Badass team. Powerful robots shooting lasers and fire beams everywhere. The oppressive atmosphere. Cumbersome designs of the metal buildings contrasting with sleek interiors. It was my favorite location and I would say that it still is, even if its plotline is okay at best.
Uh-oh. Stinky.
Nomis, get out!
Oh no!
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Having a Digimon of mech specialty, preferably as the primary one, is a really good idea as Factorial Town is naturally the place for learning mech techniques. 2 of them can only be learned here. If missed, prepare for having to waste a lot of time learning at the blackboard. Mech specialty is exclusive to Ultimate Digimon and was designed to be the most powerful, with 2 most powerful moves in the game that hit everything on the screen. Base power of 722 and 573. The best self-buffing tech that can trivialize everything that the main game throws at you. The rest of techniques, maybe excluding quite underwhelming starting one, Metal Splinter or Sprinter in NTSC, are still quite powerful and can have their niche uses. The problem with mech is that its techniques tend to be really pricey. They are also rare and hard to learn in one-on-one encounters. If a Digimon has access to Ice Statue or Megal Spark, it's nearly always better to use one of those than any of the mech attacks. What's funny is the fact that powerful mech Digimon are weak to filth. Raising a Digimon to ultimate level is a guaranteed increase of Tamer level. If it isn't maxed already, of course. Though there is 20% chance that Tamer level will go up after a natural Digivolution to champion. Tamer level can be seen as how good we are at raising Digimon according to the game. Along with the numeric score from 0 to 10, we also get a title that becomes more impressive with each level up. Achieving impressive feats results in the level increasing, while shameful display may lead to it going down. Luckily, getting a level down is harder than going up. Tamer level affects how much of your Digimon's stats get carried over when he fades away. With a Tamer level of 0, each Digimon hatched from egg will have base stats, typical for that baby Digimon. Each additional Tamer level is an additional 1% of stats carryover, up to 10%. Tamer level was thought by many to influence the chances of getting an ultimate. And in a way that's true, as thanks to the carryover, your Digimon will get stronger quicker and it will be easier for you to meet the stats requirements. But otherwise there's no direct impact. Tamer level also affects how many techniques will be forgotten once your Digimon will lose all 3 lives. But who would continue like that instead of simply loading the game? The consequences are really harsh, having to learn quite a few techniques again, losing a Tamer level, and the egg being chosen randomly for you. Other than the Garurumons patrolling the place, there are also Garurumon and Platinum Sukamon. from which you can learn every filth technique in the game. Beware though, as Platinum Sukamon have a lot of HP, so your sanity will be put to the test. Factorial Town is one of those high-level locations that don't have a single toilet, so keep that in mind. Perhaps there's no need for one, as the place is solely populated by robots and living poop monsters. There is a manhole leading to the sewers though. The smell here is even worse than the one in Trash Mountain apparently, as it causes our partner to act really weird. Here we also meet Numemon, who doesn't feel too good right now, thanks to the toxic waste produced by the factory. Factorial Town's overseer isn't too impressed with us and sends us away.
Nomis, get out!
Trying to get inside the factory is a no-go, thanks to 2 Garurumons blocking our path. For whatever reason, we can't simply beat them up like we did with every problematic Digimon to this moment. Andromon doesn't believe us at all and refuses to give us a proper permit. He also mentions that there's another Digimon who keeps factory in check so nothing bad can happen. To get inside the factory, we need to wait for the Garurumon's shift change, which occurs on noon and midnight. Talking to them after visiting Andromon hints at this. Yeah, during my first visit to Factorial Town I got stuck here for a while. Returning here during the shift change hours allows us to enter the factory uninterrupted. After first entry, Gigadramon who were blocking the entrance don't return. Instead, there will be Garurumon or Platinum Sukamon waiting to torment you. The first Platinum Sukamon inside is very important as it's the only Digimon from which you can reliably learn 3 advanced filth techniques: round speed toss, big round toss, and of course, ultimate poop hell. Gigadramon inside the factory use all-range beam, which is extremely powerful and useful move that is nearly impossible to interrupt. Very accurate and can hit multiple enemies, well worth its high MP cost. Just beware the fact that initiating combat with them may lead to protagonist running away into normally unreachable place, resulting in being stuck when the battle ends and having to use autopilot, waiting till Digimon dies, or resetting the game. Computer room is located deeper inside the factory, with doors that open with very ominous sounding noise. Our hunch was right. Garurumon really went crazy and destroyed everything. But why? For now, we have to stop him. Garurumon uses 3 really rare moves. One of them, the lead program, is exclusive to this fight. It deals good damage, has average charge-up time, but can be easily dodged if the opponent moves a lot. Reverse program costs nearly as much as all-range beam, has long charge-up time, during which it can be easily interrupted, deals average damage, but it's extremely hard to block and can cause LCD. And then there's Digivolution. Garurumon starts making weird sounds and moves erratically while the world around starts to shift. There's a window during which the move can be interrupted, and it will be best for you to do so, otherwise you'll be transported into a dimension of pain. Digidimension is the strongest move in the game. It hits everything on the screen, its animation is extremely long, but it never gets boring, and it costs blazing for 20 MP. Garurumon also has the most powerful finisher in the game, Deadly Bomb. It works differently than a standard finisher, as instead of a homing attack that always hits, Garurumon lobs a mine behind his target. It stays on the battlefield, waiting for the enemy to walk into it to deliver mass destruction. The problem is that the enemy can just not step on it, or that it will be simply thrown out of bounds.
Bruh.
Garurumon faints, and we can gloat to Andromon that we were right all along. He then stops the factory till the waste problem is fixed. Protagonist is so happy that he gets all radical. Checking out on Numemon leads to him attacking us for our trouble. His stats are really pitiful, so any strong Digimon will obliterate him with one hit. If you have a filth Digimon, Numemon is the best way to learn Ultimate Poop Hell, but it will still take multiple tries to do so. I'm a bit disappointed that Bandai didn't make Numemon a glass cannon with 999 offense, so his attacks would do scary damage if he actually hit. But oh well. Numemon, being a special Digimon, gets all confused, talks nonsense, but ultimately joins the city. To open a secret item shop in the basement of regular item shop. Numemon sells enemy bell, which increases the chances for the additional enemy to stay when the battle begins, with multiple enemies on the screen, and enemy repel, which does the exact opposite, making the additional enemies escape at the start of the battle. Those items are really situational, but still have their use. Bell for grinding, repel for tightly packed dungeons. Factorial Town's waste problem turns out to be the cause of every Digimon becoming feral, and it seems quite likely that someone took control of Garurumon with the intention of causing chaos in the whole Digimon world. Computers that were destroyed on our very own eyes held the information about past events which someone really wanted to be gone. Andromon promises to try to repair destroyed data, and also opens the main gates of the factory leading out to Gear Savannah. Yep, Factorial Town was here all along. Now that we've cleared up the situation with Andromon, returning to the computer room allows us to meet with Garurumon again. Because of the factory's closure, he decides to join the city. There's also a weird localization error that causes Garurumon to project both the protagonist and our thoughts. Garurumon operates a jukebox inside the restaurant, allowing us to listen to every track in the game. It's neat, but only in PAL and Japanese NTSC. Because of the localization error, trying to scroll down the list in American NTSC will cause the game to freeze. Many thought that the glitch was intentional, as it would fit the roguish nature of Garurumon. But sadly, the truth is a lot more prosaic. Also, some song titles are really something else. From the computer room entrance, we can go even deeper into the factory. There's a room guarded by 2 Gigadramons with 3 item PCs and a friendly Garurumon who offers remodeling for 2000 bits. Nearly every time you'll visit him, he'll say that he can't do the process because your Digimon is incompatible. It puzzled me for a very long time, as he never straight up says which Digimon can be remodeled. Only one qualifies, MetalMamemon. Paying up will cause nothing to happen in 5 out of 11 cases, but you still can repeat the process by paying again. Other 5 out of 11 cases will result in the process succeeding by initiating a special digivolution into MetalMamemon. The least probable result is the failure of remodeling and getting Garurumon instead. There were conspiracy theories that the virus gauge have something to do with becoming Garurumon, but it's purely random. As a special digivolution, it won't raise your Tamer level, but it will add 4 days to your Digimon lifespan. Also, this Gigadramon is programmed to use full potential in battle, which is clever seeing that it can modify other Digimon. But it's a friendly Digimon, so why would anyone care about it? You can actually lure out one of those Century Gigadramons, so that remodeling Gigadramon is on the screen. Initiating a battle this way will make Remodeler join the fray, and boy, is full potential a doozy. Each use of full potential increases offense, defense and speed by a large margin, and it stacks till maxing at 999 when your Digimon is virtually unstoppable. Well, poison can still ruin your day. And don't worry, soon we'll see full potential in its full glory. Returning to Andromon once again, the requirement is having a clinic, shop, arena and restaurant in the city will allow us to hear out the content of the repaired data. 100 years ago, analog humans appeared. They attacked native Digimon and ultimately lost after 10 years of battle. The island then doubled in size. And that's all. Basically a more precise version of the story from Toy Town. But it makes clear that humans were the bad guys all along. And that time in digital world works differently for humans, so that conflict probably wasn't too long ago. After that, Andromon joins the city with empty 3 prosperity points. As he does nothing besides appearing near Berger Transport. There's one more point, or rather should I say, Digimon of interest. There's a 3% chance that on a screen which connects the docks with Central Square, instead of the typical enemy Digimon, there will be MetalMamemon waiting for you in the corner. It can take a lot of entering and exiting to finally meet him. In NTSC version, thanks to yet another localization failure, he'll introduce himself as Metal Greymon. Like bonus boss should, MetalMamemon is quite strong, and if you're not careful, you'll be his 100 win. If you reject his challenge, he'll go away and you'll have to enter and exit all over again to meet him. He's also the only Digimon that you can learn mech technique Pulse Laser from, which he spams constantly. It's quick, has good power to MP ratio and can hit multiple times when your enemy is blocking for the faster finish gauge charging. He also uses all range beam, which really hurts. His defense is high, so it's definitely going to be an exhausting battle. Win against MetalMamemon makes him join the city and becoming our rival. For now, there's no place that would make use of his competitive spirit, but soon, though I have to admit he'll be a big help, even if I dread the moment when I'll see him again in the city. Besides MetalMamemon, there are 2 other Digimon like him that have 3% chance to appear on certain screens and who function basically the same. Both of them could be met before if one was lucky or unlucky. Piximon randomly appears on the beach screen in Tropical Jungle, the same that Leomon takes you to. When I first met him and he said something about Ultimate Digimon, I thought that he offers a training to get my Digimon to Ultimate level. Well, he gave me other type of lesson. Even after being able to beat him with relative ease, I still dread the sound his wings make. Boss fight with Piximon was designed to be as annoying as possible. High stats, quick techniques that cause status ailments, can burst you with finisher if you don't keep your HP high. The only thing that could make this fight even worse would be giving Piximon a poisoning move, which he uses often when you meet him at the arena. The horror. Piximon's signature tech is called Bug, and even if it looks like it's mech specialty, it is actually the best Earth tech, which threw me out of loop at first. Digimon throws living microchips that walk around seeking a target. When they find it, they attach to it and explode after a while. It's one of the few attacks that, after using it once, can hit twice if one of the microchips attaches after the others have already exploded. There can be only a limited number of bugs on the screen, so using this tech when some of them are still present is wasteful. Explosions can also liquid crystallize, just like Danger Sting that Piximon uses to interrupt your longer techs. Finally, there's Confusion Storm that not only hurts your Digimon, but also you as the player, with its garish visuals and ungodly sounds made by Piximon. Like the name implies, it can confuse your partner and make him waste precious MP. After being defeated, Piximon keeps his word and joins the city, where he sometimes, 10% each visit, appears next to the shopkeeper in the item shop. He sells training manual for a whopping 50,000 bits, but the item is well worth its price. While being in your inventory, it passively increases training gains by 10%. Sadly, buying it multiple times doesn't increase the effect. Piximon can also be used to farm MP chips, as long as you don't recruit him. Curiously, when Piximon spawns, he doesn't cause standard enemy Digimon to despawn, so you can lure J-Mojamon or Muchamon to make both Digimon present on the screen at the same time, then initiating a battle with the wild Digimon. Piximon will join and then drop a MP chip each time he's defeated. Beating him like this doesn't proc the recruitment script, so you can do that over and over again till you defeat Piximon after talking to him. Sadly, you'll have to exit and enter the screen multiple times, so it's not the most efficient way of increasing MP. Last but definitely not least is Mamemon at the top of Mount Panorama. When he's present, you'll hear his menacing trot. Challenging him to a battle shows how scary full potential is, as Mamemon will spam it till his stats are maxed. Very soon, your attacks, if you don't have a stat boosting move of your own, will do laughable amounts of damage. So either try to do as much as you can early, or poison him and try to keep him stunned. Once a stat boosting move is used, the buffs are already applied, so even if you hit Digimon during the buffing animation, it won't matter. Other than that, Mamemon uses Megaton Punch and Buster Dive to do lots of damage, but you can dodge them using the distance command. It's an extremely tricky battle if you're not prepared for it, and it took me quite a while to finally beat Mamemon for the first time. Charging your finish gauge and using it at the right moment is crucial, because after Mamemon reaches max stats with full potential, your standard attacks will do pitiful amounts of damage. Of course, you will have to watch out for Mamemon's own finisher, Smiley Bomb, as it can easily remove about 2000 HP from your Digimon's life gauge. It requires Mamemon to be quite close to your Digimon so you can keep your distance and prepare a ranged attack that has a long wind-up animation. In some cases you might disrupt his finisher, thus avoiding big damage. It's pretty much a battle of attrition. You slowly nibble on your opponent's HP, trying to dodge his attacks and waiting for that damn finish gauge to charge up. It's a constant race between Mamemon's HP and your supply of HP and MP restoring items, which will steadily dwindle as the fight goes on and you get too eager and make mistakes. This battle is all about patience, watching your opponent and waiting for an opening. One could compare it to a jousting match between two skilled knights. It's a fight decided not only by pure physical stats, but also mind and spirit. But in the end, no matter how beautiful the spectacle is, one side will have to win. Those who survive a long time on the battlefield start to think they are invincible. Before I fought Mamemon for the first time, I did too. Yo, buddy. Still alive? Mamemon joins the city as another secret item shop dealer, selling expensive high-tier battle buff items that are a waste of money, in my opinion, but soon enough our inventory will be full of super defense discs. From the Mamemon's preferred location, we can visit the spore area once again, to notice that more signs were burned into the ground, which is triggered by reading Shellman's bulletin. Reaching 45 or more prosperity points unlocks new information on the board, this time directly stating that an alien was seen. Vademon appears inside his little flying saucer. Originally, he was planned to walk around on his tentacles, but they proved to be too resource heavy, so Bandai went with this design. Shame, really, especially since the noise Vademon's ride generate is really grating. At first it looks like Vademon doesn't come in peace, but protagonist manages to convince him into joining the city. Where he appears randomly at the restaurant, 20% chance to serve overpriced space-themed food. Every champion can become your own Vademon, though he doesn't show up on their Digivolution chart. Vademon is a special Digivolution that can occur after your Digimon spent over 240 hours or 10 days as a champion, after which you praise or scold him. Each interaction has 50% chance of proccing Digivolution, reaching 360 hours as champion, possible if you use a Digivolving item on a rookie as soon as you can, or feed him lifespan extending foods. Will automatically initiate Digivolution into Vademon. It's a pretty interesting Digimon with Mech as his primary and Earth as tertiary specialty, allowing him to use every Mech tech and also Bug, which only 3 Digimon can use. If you missed your chance for a normal ultimate, you can't really go wrong with Vademon. Not counting the sound, after recruiting any of the secret shop salesmen, trying to go to native forest from the Digimon Bridge screen will result in Ninjamon showing up. Apparently, we're famous enough that even secret societies know about our adventures. And yes, I thought that Secret Ninja Village is a real place somewhere in this game. But can you blame me? Poop Kingdom on the top of Trash Mountain is something less likely, and we already visited it. Anyway, Ninjamon challenges us to a duel, which we can refuse. He'll simply appear again if we come to this exact place. He has high offense, but after beating so many ultimate Digimon already, he's a cakewalk. He then uses his ninja arts to go to the city. Post-recruitment he hangs out in the secret item shop, sharing actually quite interesting facts about items. Ninjamon wasn't a part of any original biped rooster, and he is the only official original champion added into the game. He, alongside 1 rookie and 3 ultimates, form a group called V0, where 0 actually stands for original. Ninjamon has a bizarre selection of earth, battle and fire techs, but overall is an okay fighter that quite fittingly can digivolve into every Digimon of the random encounter trio. I'm grateful for his addition as Ninjamon from the Digimon Adventure v Tamer 01 manga. Is a really iconic character and it's simply a fun design. Go read the manga, it's awesome. Also, there's special Digivolution associated with him. If your Frigimon has max discipline and has won over 50 battles and goes to sleep, there's 30% chance of Digivolution into Ninjamon after he wakes up. It's a cool concept, weakling becoming badass ninja by sheer discipline and scars earned in battle. But fighting so many battles just for a chance of digivolving not into an ultimate but another champion is just silly, especially as slight digivolution into another champion doesn't increase lifespan. But why 2048? Is this a pun in Japanese? It's such a weird number of bits to give out. Why are you doing this to me, Bandai? Why? With a virus Digimon, we're allowed to enter the mansion at the Overdell Cemetery with a massive slam. We enter the Grey Lord's mansion. Sadly, every door seems to be locked. The music, the grandiose of the mansion's design, its placement on the graveyard, and the overall emptiness sets us up for a unique, creepy adventure. During my first visit here, with a Numemon of course, I was genuinely scared that something's going to jumpscare me. Of course, nothing of sorts happens, but the gameplay shifts into something more like an adventure game, with exploration, searching for items and solving little puzzles. Though it's really generous to call them puzzles. Going through the only open door on the bottom level will lead up to dining room, where inside the fireplace lies the mansion key that opens every door inside the mansion. Well, most of them, such as door leading to the attic. Exploring the place ends up with us making a hole in the grating and falling into the office that was behind the closed door with no keyhole. How convenient. This time, falling down actually causes percentage damage to our partner. From here we can go to the bedroom, where investigating the coffin uncovers the secret elevator to the mansion's basement. In its center lies the mansion's owner, Myotismon. He demands food, meat specifically, but when we try to share with him, he gives us refrigerator key instead. Having a full inventory will require making space for it, essentially destroying chosen item. We've already seen the fridge when we were heading into the dining room. Now with the key in hand, we can open it to find a note with a rather cryptic hint. It refers to the screen where we recruited, got points, Piximon, the dumb one. This note breaks the fourth wall and is formulated this way even if you haven't recruited Piximon yet, making it even more confusing. Exiting the mansion, we can now collect. Huh? It isn't Ceylon as we know it though. It's a separate item that fills your Digimon about as much as Ceylon, but without its happiness and tiredness effects, restoring 1000 HP instead and causing sickness. In the NTSC version it's called steak, which makes it a bit less confusing. The Japanese version still holds the cake with
blood, dripping, meat,
which explains why it makes Digimon sick after eating it. By exiting and entering this screen, you can collect as many as you want. Because after giving one to Myotismon, they stop spawning and you can't get them anywhere else. Myotismon is grateful that we saved him from starvation, and then he just zooms, sitting in the air. It's funny, because they could simply use his walking animations that are actually in the game. I have the same problem with Gigadramon when he uses computer. There's a great animation of him typing on the keyboard, yet they did nothing with it. Anyway, we're invited into a wonderfully drawn feast that protagonist enjoys way too much. Myotismon complains about his men not listening to him anymore and him forgetting to eat, which I can relate to completely. While in college I quite frequently forgot to eat regularly, sometimes not realizing that I should eat something for 2 days straight. In fact, during one of the laboratory diagnostics classes where we measured the glucose levels, I was the one getting checked in our exercise group. It was so low that the professor said,
"You should be unconscious on the ground right now."
To which I said, "Yeah, I know." So Myotismon joins the arena with his men, but also states that he still has some research to do. Doesn't say what the subject of his research is though. Speaking of Myotismon's men, Soulmon in the fridge room are great source of thunder justice, for whatever reason censored into Thunderbolt in PAL. The strongest air technique that, while it can be interrupted or dodged by moving, is extremely powerful and stuns with a 1 out of 3 chance. Also, before we leave, there's a room with a bookshelf that has a book with a cover so cool that it simply compels protagonists to check it out.
No, don't do it!
It is a trap, obviously, but I admire good trolling. To progress further in the Myotismon plotline, we need to read a page on the bulletin board that appears after meeting Myotismon and having 35 or more prosperity points. According to it, Myotismon stopped appearing in the arena and is likely to retire soon. Visiting the mansion again, we notice that Myotismon is gone and nowhere to be found. Trying to leave causes Devimon to make his dramatic entrance. His motives are unclear, but he states that we're his enemies. He also reveals that Myotismon is still alive. Meeting with Devimon dispels the dark force that was previously blocking one of the doors, which allows us to take the elevator to Myotismon's secret laboratory. There are two pathways. Taking the one to the right will lead to a doorway protected by 3 Darkrizamons, which, as you'll see after defeating the enemies, is in fact just a framed black wall. Protagonist's angry response to this discovery makes it even funnier. The left pathway is the way to go. Now we need to deal with Tekamon first, who is a lazy recolor of Garurumon, with missing teeth and horns, wielding a saber instead of chainsaw. He actually was MetalMamemon equivalent in the version 5 VPET. His main attack is Reverse Program, which he shares with Garurumon, and others being Buster Dive and Full Potential. He is kind of a pushover though, as I managed to defeat him once with a Numemon, with Speed Poop Toss and Poison, but still. Going deeper, there's a lot of pink, tumor-like mass everywhere. There's also Skullgreymon waiting for us at the end. For some reason, he seems to know about us. Ultimately, it ends with a battle. Despite his high HP and offense, Skullgreymon is a pretty easy boss who uses battle techniques and shouldn't be a problem to any Digimon that was able to defeat Tekamon. Skullgreymon then disappears and we're free to rescue Myotismon and Bakemon? Oh man, the line about ruining research with evil always gets me. It seems that Devimon was always a trickster, but now he became more nefarious with his doings. Myotismon suggests he was brainwashed. Talking to Myotismon again will ensure that he and Skullgreymon will join the city, the arena more specifically, earning 3 prosperity points. And yes, while we can't raise a Myotismon of our own, when I got Devimon for the first time I always thought that at least one of his Digivolutions is Myotismon. It isn't. And you don't fight him as a part of the story. He has a fully functional model with animations. He actually can appear in the arena, though his moveset is puzzling at best. He is coded to have 2 specialties, air and battle, but curiously, during the arena fights, he also uses ice moves, Aurora Freeze, seen used by Varusydramon during the 3rd Ogremon encounter, and Giga Freeze, close-ranged ice version of Red Inferno that also can stun. As an additional reward, Myotismon will share his Digivolution research with us if we talk to him in the dining room. It's awkwardly written, and in the NTSC version there are missing lines in his dialogue, but it's still useful. Some Digimon, after losing a battle, not when fading away as Myotismon says, have a chance of digivolving. MetalGreymon has 10% chance of digivolving into Skullgreymon. Believe it or not, but for whatever reason, Megadramon also can digivolve into Skullgreymon, even when he doesn't have legs, though Skullgreymon also doesn't resemble the skeletal structure of either Greymon or MetalGreymon, so I'll excuse it. Myotismon also mentions Bakemon, Devimon and Phoenixmon being deaf digivolutions, but he doesn't really know what their previous forms are. A clever way of encouraging players to try to find the answers by concluding their own experiments. Every rookie Digimon, excluding Penguinmon for unknown reasons, is an original creation for this game. Like Ninjamon, but I don't really think that it matters here, have a 10% chance to become Bakemon after losing a life. Bakemon is an outstanding Digimon that was widely used in speedruns of this game. With air as his primary specialty, and access to nearly all of its techniques, and being a virus Digimon, allowing to learn Thunder Justice is just that good. Devimon requires Angemon to fall in battle while having less than 50 discipline. It also has a lot higher chances of happening with 50%, really fitting the theme of devils being rebellious, thus undisciplined, angels. I still remember when my Angemon lost to Greymon and then evolved into Devimon. Then I got really scared when I've checked Digivolution chart and noticed that Devimon has no connection to any rookie or champion. Having Angemon die is the only way to get Devimon, not counting using his Digivolution item of course. Finally, there's Phoenixmon, who has a 10% chance of evolving when Kokatorimon loses a life. Only Kokatorimon, contrary to what most of the player base think. To be honest, Birdramon do seems like a more natural choice for this Digivolution, but alas, it is what it is. I'm really grateful to the designers for including this bit of information for the players, instead of obscuring it like with some other Digimon. I'm a bit surprised that there are no Digimon World creepypastas, especially with locations like the Overdell Cemetery or Greylord's Mansion. I once wanted to write a blogspot solely to publish a single story told us a real life experience which would go like this. After rescuing Myotismon from starvation and then visiting the basement again, there would be a Darkrizamon standing in the corner, larger than the ordinary ones. After initiating a conversation, she tells me that she's looking for her child who got lost in the mansion. She then asks protagonist to help her with the search. From now on, running for a while in each room of the mansion would cause Hero to say the child isn't here. Talking to Myotismon while on this quest would cause protagonist to ask him about the missing child, but Myotismon would simply go with his usual dialogue, confusing everyone. Trying to talk again to Myotismon would result in visible silence. Coming back to the mother would be met with increasingly aggressive pleas to hurry up and try harder. After visiting each room, protagonist would say to himself, "He's nowhere to be found, drat." That would not please the mother, who would scream in all caps that there must be a place that protagonist missed. And there is. Checking out the fridge would show the same note as always, but this time those 3 Soulmon in the back would automatically attack. Beating them and leaving the mansion again would allow to collect one more stake. Returning to the mother with this stake in hand results in her screaming incoherently and turning into Gigadramon, who then initiates a boss fight, having all 4s in her stats and using Digidimension exclusively. She drops Giga Hand, Gigadramon's Digivolution item, and then disappears. After that, everything goes normally. And that's it. No jump scares and hyperrealism, simply a weird event with implications. Also, general weirdness such as mother looking for a child when Digimon don't reproduce. The idea for that event comes from hazy memories of meeting a Digimon in that exact location when I've reached the mansion for the first time, while having a fever. In the heart of Freezeland lies the vaccine attribute counterpart to the Grey Lord's mansion, Ice Sanctuary, majestic temple made entirely of ice. Trying to enter with a virus or data partner will cause a mysterious white force to push us away. Managing to enter it rewards us with this beautiful piece of music. Shame that it's the only screen you can listen to it. There is also a statue of an angel that looks alive. Walking around for a bit will cause your partner Digimon to move it, uncovering the secret entrance to the lower level of the sanctuary. From now on, Ice Sanctuary plays out like a traditional RPG dungeon with lots of fighting in tight corridors. Obviously, it's a great place to learn ice techniques. There's also Prominence Beam from Bloomeramon or Buster Diving Hyogamon. There's also another gym with 2 stations, Icicle Fall that greatly raises defense and adds slightly to speed, and Ice Block Pushing, primarily boosting HP with a few extra points to defense. Stat gains from these facilities are better even than those of the fully upgraded Green Gym, but Ice Sanctuary, just like Trash Mountain, is so inconvenient to visit that it doesn't really matter. There's also an interesting rumor about this place. Harseru, a Digimon World researcher who I respect quite much, the one who ripped exact Digivolution requirements from the game's code and stayed cool even when everyone doubted that those were the correct ones, posted on a message board about supposedly cat encounter with a female Tamer and her partner Frigimon. Apart from his post and a few reposts by people who read it, I've never seen any further information about this. It was probably a prank pulled on the community, as while at first it seems like something that is plausible. I mean, there are some pretty obscure events in the game, and there are multiple Digivices in Digimon's house. When you think about it harder, it kind of falls apart really. First, humans disappeared after war with Digimon decades ago, and they would be a talking point of every Digimon. Meanwhile, every Digimon encountered by us is extremely surprised by our appearance. Second, we are the first human summoned by Digimon, otherwise he would clearly inform us about the other kid working on the same goal. Next, why Frigimon? It's a Digimon that we can recruit to the city, why not something unique? Lastly, what would be the purpose of this event? Could be a secret way to obtain Panjamon's Digivolution item that normally is only available through the use of cheating device? Maybe. Props to you, Harseru, that's a quality urban legend that makes me sleepless at night to this date. Ice Sanctuary filters inattentive players by cleverly hiding the pathway leading into its deeper levels. From now on, to progress, instead of finding stairs or doorways, we have to touch those weird crystals. The reason why designers did it will come soon enough, and it's quite sinister. Design-wise, Ice Sanctuary is a complete opposite of the Grey Lord's mansion. Its visuals are simple yet elegant, instead of bombastic, over-designed rooms of the mansion. The music is calming, melodic, expressing coldness and mystery of the place. in contrast to Mansion's loud, kind of overwhelming orchestral score. Ice Sanctuary is a straightforward dungeon with multiple enemy encounters, while visiting the mansion is more exploration and puzzle based, with only 2 mandatory boss fights. Both locations are really good, but Greylord's mansion is definitely more memorable. At some point, we reach a room with 4 possible teleport crystals to choose. Picking any that isn't the one in the upper right part of the screen will result in being teleported to one of the sanctuary's beginning screens.
Oh no!
And having to traverse to the teleporter room all over again. Picking the right one allows to progress into the final room with treasure PCs and a trio of Digimon blocking our way to a strange pulsating light. There's nothing interesting about this enemy Digimon other than having to fight 3 of them at the same time. Reaching the light blinds us while making the same noise as when we were transported to this world. A voice of totally unknown Digimon speaks to us, and then the light disappears. Going back to the entrance of Ice Sanctuary will reveal that the Digimon statue has disappeared. In its place, Angemon appears to join our cause, while speaking about having a mission from heavens to protagonists' utter confusion. Angemon becomes Digimon's advisor. Talking to him gives us hints about Digimon who can be recruited at the moment, and designers prepared those little messages for nearly every recruitable Digimon, even those that can be recruited very early, like Palmon or Coelamon. Agumon doesn't have one, as recruiting him is mandatory to progress at all. Also, if you haven't reached 50 prosperity points, recruiting Angemon will upgrade Digimon's house. It is mostly a very nice cosmetic change, but it's actually needed for something plot related. Also, the chair that you could use to rest your Digimon is now gone. And no, you can't use the bed to reduce tiredness. It's not a problem when you recruited Centaurumon, who is a much better way of reducing tiredness anyway. But in theory, you can recruit Angemon with only 1 prosperity point. But if you can do that, you are so good at the game that it wouldn't hurt you much. Near the place where we found Waymon, there are 3 igloos on the ice floes, each of them housing 1 Mojamon. Mojamon are item collectors and like to destroy world economies as a hobby. Each one has a set of 3 items that they are looking for. In exchange, you'll receive an item specific for the one you gave away. Trades are generally in your favor. You could even say that some are too much in your favor. You can get Mojamon's Digivolution item for 1 Happy Mushroom, which is the hardest trait to do as finding one is luck based. The last Mojamon whom trade list you've completed will go to the city. I suggest saving the one who wants giant meat, black trout, and high-speed disc for last, as the other 2 are far more, let's say, profitable. Mojamon becomes another secret salesman, offering 2 interesting items. Rest Pillow increases the restorative effects of sleep as long as it's in your inventory. Really nice if you train your Digimon when he should be already sleeping and you still want him to be fairly rested. and health shoes that restore your partner's HP and MP while you walk around. Walk being the keyword here, as normal movement counts as running. To walk, you have to move while keeping the triangle button pressed at the same time, as walking is very slow and the regeneration itself is weak. This item isn't really good. The much more interesting thing associated with Mojamon is the money trick. One of them asks for a medium recovery floppy, which costs 500 bits, in exchange giving you super defense disc, which sells for 2000. I told you that it will return. That's a 1500 profit for each transaction, 1600 if you buy floppies with the discount you get when your Digimon is a baby or in training. Even counting the cost of bird road transport to Freezeland and autopilot so you can go back, the amount of bits you'll earn with each trip is massive, making money and getting a medal for maxing bits a non-issue. The only problem is how trading is designed. You have to trade for each super defense disc individually. That's 8 button presses and about 4 to 5 seconds for each disc. But getting 1500 bits in 5 seconds still beats grinding battles that take much longer than that. Still, I suggest doing 1 or 2 squats for each trade to both improve your body and distract your brain from the mind-numbing process. Beware though, if you go for maxing out your money in quick succession, as you should, you'll hate yourself next day, as I did. You can trade Digimushrooms with the other Mojamon to get additional med recoveries, but in my opinion it's not worth the hassle, especially if your legs are at stake. Maxing out the bits before spending them on anything will save you having to repeat the money trick additional times, though you can always supplement it with grinding Garurumon, selling sirloins, or winning tournaments, as you need to win 100 of them for a medal anyway. Also, remember to always have autopilot on you, or move slightly after each transaction. Trading causes Mojamon to move slightly in your direction, and you can be actually trapped inside him. Going further to the east, we reach Freezeland's cape, which is certainly beautiful, but we didn't come here to admire the views. In front of the local cave stands Penguinmon, waiting for unsuspecting tourists to challenge them to a game of curling. Well, Digimon World's version of curling that doesn't need a whole team to be played and was designed to be more exciting. To recruit him, we have to beat him in his own game. First game is free, but if Penguinmon manages to beat you, which certainly can happen, you'll have to give him a fish to try again. Well, the truth is that you can actually get rematches against Penguinmon for free. After losing, just talk to him again, and when he asks you if you want to play against him, simply cancel it by pressing the triangle button. Now walk around him and enter the cave. Penguinmon will already be there, but you won't be able to play the game yet. Just step on the blue circle and voila! No fish needed. But let's visit the Dragon Eye Lake to get some fish anyway. You can get fish by, well, fishing them at Dragon's Eye Lake. There are 2 spots where you can cast the line, with 6 different species of fish, each with different bait preference and behavior when they're on the hook. To fish, we need either Old Fish Rod or Amazing Rod. Having one of them allows us to use the fish option in the menu. We have to choose our bait, and then we're free to rotate in the direction we're interested in, charge or throw, and finally cast the line. If the bait hits the water in close proximity to the fish, it will scare it away, so be careful. You can then reel your rod back to position it near swimming fish. If they like the bait, after every 8th frame there's a chance that it will bite. You have to press the X button at the right time. The timings for bigger fish are really weird and they'll take a while to learn. Remember that it's better to be too quick than too late, as in the former case you only scare the fish and keep the bait, allowing you to try again. After hooking a fish, you'll have to pull it in by rapidly pressing X. The fish will constantly try to fight back, so you'll also have to let the line rest once in a while, so it won't break, losing you both the fish and the bait. You can monitor its state in the upper right corner. I would suggest not letting the gauge turn orange. If it does, let it rest for a while, and you should be fine. If the fish is really close to the coast, I would go for it by pressing X like mad. The fishing minigame is really simple, and at first I thought that I'm really going to hate having to put a lot of time into it, but it was quite the contrary. Really relaxing and, dare I say, fun. I remember being obsessed with this minigame when I was a kid. The fishing medal was actually the first medal I got in the game. Yet still, after all those years, I didn't go fishing in the non-digital world. Maybe I'll try it after I'm done with this video. Maybe. In the northern part of Dragon Eye Lake, you can catch digi anchovies, that are those really small fish swimming around. They like digi mushrooms and meat and are really easy to reel in. They are often accompanied by larger digi-snappers that also like meat. You can find them on the right side of the lake. Further in the middle are digi-trouts that, well, I had no idea of their existence before this playthrough. They don't like meat, instead going for digi-mushrooms, with happy mushrooms being their favorites. Big fish swimming near the rods in the left corner are black trouts that really like to eat other fish, with digi-trouts being their favorites. Feeding one to your Digimon lowers his weight and permanently rises his stats by a minuscule amount. And finally, digi-seabass. These giants dwell lazily by the right corner. They like other big fish, with digi-catfish as their favorite. Timing their bites and then reeling them in is extremely tricky, but the reward is well worth it. After all, they can be farmed to extend your partner's lifespan, potentially into infinity. They also sell for a whopping 8,000 bits. The only fish exclusive to the southern part of the lake are digi-catfish that reside very close to the shore. Beside this, there are also digi-trouts and digi-snappers in the middle of the lake. It's best to use sirloin or their favorite food, moldy meat. Their tails when you're trying to get a bite are hard, but thanks to catfish being so close to your position, reeling them in is actually quite easy. As food, digi-catfish increases weight by a massive 5, and you can sell them for 2000 bits. But all in all, it's best to use them as a bait for digi-seabass. If you use a food that is fish's favorite, then every single specimen that gets near it will actively follow your bait, allowing you to pull them back for an easy catch. If you'll manage to get the bite's timing, of course. Also, if you cast a line by pressing circle instead of X, you'll automatically make the furthest throw possible. By keeping circle pressed and using directional pad, you can move the camera when you're waiting for a fish to take your bait. If you mess up the timing by being late, the fish will run away with your food item. Slowly reeling back with an empty hook has a random chance to snag a random item from a preset list. You'll maximize your chances by doing many short presses. The most rare on the list is Coral Charm, Gigadramon's Digivolution item. If you're lucky, you can get multiple copies as it's not limited to one per game. There's also the ultimate fishing challenge of the game, the Lake Guardian. Rumors about this mystical being circulate through the whole game. You can read about it on Shellmon's bulletin board. Angemon hints us about insectoid Digimon living beyond Dragon Eye Lake and to go fishing there. Tankmon gives us very important information about at what time the Guardian appears. There are 2 time slots in which Guardian appears, at the southern part of Dragon Eye Lake, 8 till 9 and 17 till 18. If you cast a line during those hours, you'll see a huge silhouette of the Lake Guardian. You don't need to hear or read any rumors for him to show up. In contrast with other fish, Guardian has a patrol route that he repeats until caught. Meat will suffice as bait. From my experience, the best place to cast your line is the area behind the bucket-like piece of scenery, as Guardian spends a lot of time here, and you have a great landmark that can be used to correctly place your lure on Guardian's path. But getting his attention is the least of your problems. Guardian has several biting timings, some really hard to get right. Finally, there's the battle of attrition. He'll cut your line really easily, so you have to be careful at all times and frequently let it loose. It will take several tries, and at moments it will be extremely stressful, but in the end you'll reel in. A giant Gigadramon. Clearly impressed by our fishing skills, he agrees to grant one request. There are 3 options. If we want an item, Gigadramon gives us his Digivolution item, water bottle, and then goes away. It's easy to raise a Gigadramon, and the item itself isn't unique, as you can get it from Shogun Gekomon for 500 merit points. Asking Gigadramon to teach us a technique will result in learning one of the techniques that Gigadramon can learn, starting from the weakest, and then he goes away. Finally, there's option to be friends. Gigadramon gives us a blue flute as a proof of our friendship. Even if there's no recruitment message and Gigadramon doesn't physically appear in the city, we still get 2 prosperity points. From now on, if we come here with it inside our bag after playing a little tune, Gigadramon will appear without us having to fish him out first, allowing us to cross the lake so we can reach Beetle Land. Is probably the location most often skipped by players, thanks to it being locked behind the fishing side quest. As the name implies, the only Digimon here are various insects. You can battle with Tentomon, who are surprisingly competent fighters who use Bug, Charm Perfume, Weak Attack that hits the whole screen and has more than 50% chance of causing confusion, Mass Morph, Self Buff that raises defense by a lot, and Insect Plague, extremely weak, homes on the enemy and has a 90% chance of poisoning. It may seem weak, but in the hands of enemy it is extremely annoying. Going further, we reach a local training camp. There's also a reception desk where you can register your Digimon to take part in Beetle Cup. The problem is that it's held only on 22nd of each year, and your Digimon must be an insect. Kunemon, Kabuterimon, Kuwagamon or Hercules Kabuterimon. Opponents have very high stats, and if Hercules Kabuterimon is competing against you, it's already over for you. The reward for becoming a champion is Beetle Pearl, Hercules Kabuterimon Digivolution item. Left gym is filled with Kuwagamon, preparing for the cup. The one near the entrance will offer you rest, but at -5 tiredness per hour, it's the worst way to do so. The one on the left will tell you about how to digivolve into Kunemon, taking your in-training Digimon to Kunemon's bed and letting it sleep there has a 50% chance of a special Digivolution. Back in a day, I always wondered what the 9th rookie could be. I expected it to be some weird pig like Devimon, who isn't in this game at all, or Tentomon. Yeah, I haven't noticed yet that every recruitable Digimon can also be raised, and that Kunemon is also a recruitable rookie. Anyway, the last Kuwagamon.
Let's go. No problem. Yeah. Get out of that Gigadramon thing. Yeah. Smart ass. I'll show you the boss in this gym. Come on. Let's go. Huh?
Asks us a question how to defeat his biggest rival. Possible answers are weirdly formatted, but choosing the right one will be enough reason for him to join the city. Where he upgrades MP, offense and brains facilities in the gym, increasing gains by 20%. The gym on the right houses Kabuterimon. The one on the left is bored with training in Beetle Land, and I don't blame him. Training here raises only one stat, and facilities aren't all that better than those in the upgraded green gym, and there are no MP and brains stations. So we lure him into joining the city by mentioning the arena. You need arena in the city to do so, obviously. He, as the counterpart to Kuwagamon, upgrades HP, defense and speed facilities. Kabuterimon on the right side of the gym will teach you bug technique for free. Nice! If your Digimon has at least 500 defense and speed. The one near the entrance tells us about Beetle Cup. That would be all for Beetle Land. It's a small area, but has two of the best recruits in the game. I'm not going to describe the curling minigame. Not now. I'm not ready yet. Defeating Penguinmon equals with him joining the city. Where he opens a curling rink in the arena building. In exchange for any fish, we can challenge him again to have a chance to win various prizes. MetalMamemon also joins the curling rink to show his competitive spirit. You still need to give him a fish to start the game. His prize list is different than Penguinmon's and includes ultimate Digivolution items of Mamemon like Digimon. On the Shellmon's bulletin, we can read about a mystery Digimon who looks like a snowball, lives in Freezeland and saves others for a hobby. The interviewee also warns Digimon that don't like cold climates to watch themselves, which brings us to the topic of area preferences. It's not very important game mechanic. I mean, it's constantly present, but its effects aren't all that noticeable. Each Digimon has its preferred and hated locations. Passing an hour in those locations affects happiness, tiredness, the quality of sleep. Digimon will also get sick if you spend too much time in an area he hates. Satisfaction or displeasure is shown by the happiness face animations. To meet with the mystery Digimon, you need a partner who hates being in Freezeland, and then bring him to the screen with the igloo. If your Digimon is sick and you will step directly on this point of the map, your partner will faint, while you can simply wait for your Digimon to get sick from the cold. It's much more time efficient to simply feed your Digimon moldy meat for an instant illness. Frigimon will take us to his igloo and give us a big scolding for letting our Digimon collapse. To prove him wrong, we need to digivolve our Digimon and return to Frigimon to show that we're responsible enough. He'll be impressed even if you bring a filth Digimon with you, earning another 2 prosperity points. In the city, Frigimon fulfills the role of another chef at the restaurant. Disappointing, I know. Isn't there just too many cooks? Heading into Misty Trees, we meet Garurumon, who challenges us to a fight. There's nothing special about this fight, other than him spamming Ice Statue, which can be painful, and having good stats. After being defeated, Garurumon gets pretty salty, calling our tactical and supply support unfair, which, I mean, isn't completely uncalled for. He demands a rematch, this time with us, just watching, without issuing commands and using items. The rematch will take place tomorrow at 4 o'clock. The place stays the same. Coming late to the rematch results in Garurumon having more HP. Your partner needs to be pretty strong and equipped with quick techs if you want him to be the winner. Limiting to a single tech is a good idea. Also, Garurumon can use his finisher, while partner Digimon can't because he needs to be ordered to do so. So much for a fair fight, huh? After some hard convincing, there's no need for round 3. And Garurumon becomes yet another restaurant chef. In Misty Trees, there's an area with lots of creepy, realistic statues of Digimon. Between 4 and 7 o'clock, we can find Kokatorimon, admiring his own work. Talking to him, he'll and then attacks us. You know the drill on how those fights are. He's spamming Megalo Spark, which is one of the best moves in the game, and will ruin your day if you use slow techniques as your main source of damage. Beating Kokatorimon reveals that he is a bit eccentric. Protagonist doesn't go easy on him and quickly gets tired of his shit. In the end, Kokatorimon joins the city and becomes an artist. He then makes a sculpture that is supposed to be the likeness of our hero. I know that I have no right to be critical, as art is very subjective, but it isn't really good. Kokatorimon's dialogue, though really poorly and confusingly translated, also points out that nobody else can truly comprehend it, which is actually pretty funny. At least it's placed in the appropriate location. With over 45 prosperity points, we can revisit Drill Tunnel and go through the south section where Dreamogemon finally finished drilling as he uncovered Leomon's ancestors' secret cave. For being such an insignificant location, Game's artists put a lot of work into it to make it look fancy, especially with its central point, the statue of the ancestor who was a saber Leomon. We take a stone tablet from the pedestal and quickly deliver it to Leomon. The message inscribed on the tablet tells him to join the city in the times of need, which we've been begging Leomon to do all that time. But at least now Leomon can rest easy, knowing that his ancestor would be proud of him. Leomon doesn't really do anything else than standing inside Verdra Transport, telling about how he still regularly patrols Gear Savannah. Resolving Leomon's plotline allows us to finally meet Ninjamon at his final hiding spot to bring him to the city. And with that, we've recruited every Digimon on the File Island, not counting those hiding in the final location. To get the remaining 13 prosperity points, we'll have to climb Mount Infinity. But where could it be?